Okay, the new Five Nights at Freddy's interactive novel, the week before, it just got leaked early, and there's a shite ton of lore in there, like old lore too. So Scott is like actually finally going back to stuff like the Bite of 87 and the Bite of 83 even, which is just crazy. There's a lot in this book, and I had to make a video on it really quick just to talk about this real quick, because oh my god. First of all, it's the week before, which the character in the book is confirmed to be Ralph. And Ralph is the phone guy. The phone guy from FNAF 1, from FNAF 2, from FNAF 3. Is the phone guy. It even calls him the phone guy at one point. So his name is Ralph, and according to the description of the book, was working the week before Mike Schmidt in FNAF 1. Literally the week before FNAF 1. Which also cements the story as being set in-game canon. Like, this is the phone guy, not a parallel phone guy or anything like that. This is confirmed in-game canon. The week before FNAF 1 with phone guy. Which is crazy and something we've been asking for like freaking forever. We actually got FNAF, like, lore in a book that is in-game continuity confirmed. Phone guy. His name is Ralph. I don't know if we get a last name, but he has a daughter named Coppelia, I think. Coppelia. Coppelia, I think. But he has a daughter, and he talks to the daughter throughout the book, and he like talks about the daughter and whatever. And so he works at Freddy's, and he's been working at Freddy's a really long time. We basically hear a lot about him and his career with Freddy's throughout the nights. I'm not going to talk about the main chunk of the book here, just the little lore bits. Go and read it for yourself. It is really actually good. It's an interactive novel, and it's like it's a lot longer than VIP was. I'll tell you that. So I know immediately, by saying it's phone guy, you're gonna think of like, well, doesn't he die that week? If this is the week before FNAF 1, he must die. And yes, he does. We see, there's a canon ending to the book. There's multiple endings that aren't canon, but there's one canon ending to the book, and in that ending, you hear him recording, well, I guess you read him recording the phone call for night 4 where he dies. You want to hope this isn't the end, but having lived through almost 5 nights at Freddy's, you know the deal. The replacement won't understand what you're saying, or they won't believe you either until it's too late. Or maybe the animatronics won't even give them the opportunity to leave the security office. They're definitely more aggressive tonight, as if something has changed. Maybe you've changed them, through your interactions with them this week. Some legacy. I always wonder what was in those empty heads back there. A chime sounds behind you. What is that? You know, you turn around thinking Fox has rebooted himself, but you see what's behind him. Freddy Fazbear. Something moans. Is it you? Oh no. The animatronics scream. All of them. The doors in the office pop open and the camera feeds cut out. The monitor spews static and snow dances across the screen. The phone line goes dead. So we finally get more details on his actual death. It is every animatronic. It plays the Golden Freddy scream, I believe, in FNAF 1, the actual phone call, but it seems like it's the main 4, and, quote, all of them are killing him at the same time. But that finally answers the question of who killed Phone Guy. It was all of them. And that's not even the best part. It doesn't end there. It keeps going. When you come to, how? It's dark. You can't move your head, but through 2 small eye holes, you can just make out what appears to be the repair shop behind the stage. I'm okay, you wonder? Something smells bad. It might be you. It's me. Why can't you move your head, your hands? I'm not okay. All your choices have led you here, now you're out of options. The only thing you can do is wait. So, in multiple endings, I believe, well, multiple game overs, you get shoved into a Freddy Fazbear suit, just like Mike does in the game over screen for FNAF 1. And if you really think about it, how are the kids possessing the animatronics? They got stuffed into suits and they possessed them. So with Phone Guy, it must be the same, right? This last bit of the end here implies that he is dead and not dead at the same time, like he is possessing the suit. We see that he is in a suit because he can see through small eye holes, and he's in, quote, the repair shop behind the stage. By the way, that's something that's different between the game and the book. I don't know if it's just a mistake or whatever, but the parts and services behind the stage instead of being off to the side. It is called backstage, so I guess he changed it to make more sense. So is Phone Guy still alive? The fact that Phone Guy was in the FNAF 1 location and was stuffed into a suit, and was seemingly undead, like we're seeing here, Phone Guy in games could still be alive. Which is crazy to think about. What if, like, We could see him in the security breach era, who knows? He'll come back somehow. Maybe he's part of the Tangle Blob. Who the hell knows? But it's crazy to finally know what happened to him after like 10 years. Now, as for him being Phone Guy, it is definitely confirmed in the story. We see here, quote, "Just because we don't often meet our fellow employees doesn't mean we aren't part of the same friendly Fazbear family," trademark. "It's important to have some pride and consideration. This is one of the reasons you agreed to record those training videos for new hires and leave phone messages as part of orientation. Helps you feel a connection to the other guards. Having a calm voice helps them keep a clear head when things get tense. It's nice to know that after you leave this job, part of you will always remain here." Referring to, of course, the phone calls. If that's not enough, they even refer to him as the Phone Guy. Some people around here now use the Phone Guy because of your voice messages that are forwarded to new hires or reminders, tips, and encouraging words to support them during their orientation week. Ironically, you don't use the phone much yourself. You record the messages and management schedules them to go out automatically. They've probably been using the same ones for ages. Maybe you should update them. But yeah, so it is definitely Phone Guy. So confirmed, Ralph is Phone Guy, and this is definitely the FNAF 1 Phone Guy, which is crazy. Now, before I get into stuff about the 1987 bite, why did I call it that? It's the bite of 87. Before I get into that, and also the bite of 83, which is here for some reason, there's a few more tidbits in here I want to go over. First of all, there is a line kind of confirming that the Unwithered Animatronics did look like the FNAF 1 animatronics. Quote, "The brown bear is dapper as always in his black top hat and bow tie. You're glad they restored the vintage animatronic with his classic look." Now this is from Phone Guy, who has been working there since the original Freddy's where the missing children happened. We know that because of the FNAF 3 tapes that talk about Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria and stuff like that. So this is the Phone Guy, and it says that they restored him to his classic look. So it seems like what that's saying is, and also what Phone Guy said in FNAF 2 about how they tried to retrofit the FNAF 2 Withereds with the new technology, it seems like the reason the Withereds don't look like the FNAF 1 animatronics is because they did try and update them, but then when FNAF 1 came along, they, quote, restored them to their classic look. So it seems like the Unwithered Animatronics at the 1985 Freddy's did look like the FNAF 1 animatronics, which also explains why Fredbear looks like that. It's also possible that that 1985 Freddy's location is the FNAF 1 location. I mean, it would explain why it has a safe room just by opening later on. And you may say, well, the layout's completely different. It's completely different. Well, in the book, it even says, it seems like whole sections of the building have been closed off over the years, or perhaps they're expansions that were abandoned before completion. It's saying that the building has changed over the years, the FNAF 1 building, the building that he is in, and they have blocked things off, and they've tried to expand, and they've added different places, and whatever. So the building has changed over the years, it is confirmed. So it is very possible the FNAF 1 location is an old location, like FREDBEAR'S or the 1985 Freddy's, which explains why it would have a safe room. Okay, now I'm going to get into the Bite of 87, which is referenced, I believe, twice, maybe more we haven't seen yet. We haven't seen the whole book yet, we've only seen the bits that's been live read. Thank you to, I think the name is Freezie, for, like, live reading this. Thank you so much, you're the best. Yeah, we haven't seen the whole book, but we have seen multiple instances talking about the Bite of 87, and one that is pretty crazy. So, okay, the first time I talk about it is they're talking about the company, and like, Phone Guy, Ralph, says, you want to leave, but you have to finish the job first, so someone else have to do it. Like you said in your training videos, you can't spell team without M and E. After the Bite of 87, you heard some of the staff twist that around to, you can't spell team without M-E-A-T. You didn't appreciate that. So that is a little bit of a reference to Bite of 87, which kind of implies that it was a member of staff that was bitten. They're saying that you can't spell team without meat, as if that's all the staff team is, they're just meat. And specifically after the Bite of 87, you know, kind of implies that maybe one of the staff members was bit, which, you know, kind of leads into the theory that it was Jeremy Fitzgerald who was the bite victim. Well, the bite victim of 87, not of 83. Pretty late in the story, you get a mobile phone or something that you can input codes into, and there's 3 codes I know about, and I'm going to go over each of them, but the first one I'm talking about is obviously 1987. So, Phone Guy puts in the code 1987. Quote, 1 year does stick out. Who could forget the so-called Bite of 87? You shudder. It's amazing the human body can live without the frontal lobe. You punch in the numbers 1987. There's a long pause before you hear 2 garbled words slowed down. and it says incorrect passcode backwards. He has to put the code in backwards. He puts 7891 instead. This time you hear a series of clicks and a tape deck being rewound. Then a voice speaks. It sounds familiar. You recognize it as your own voice. You listen to a recording you made some time ago for new employees. Someone has edited it. Hey, good job, night 5. Keep a close eye on things tonight, okay? We don't have a replacement for your shift yet, but we're working on it. Well, just get through one more night. Hang in there. Good night. Thanks for the words encouragement past me. Wish you could leave a recording for that guy. So that is, the reason it's edited is because it is way chopped down, but that is the exact night 5 phone call from FNAF 2. It cuts out the whole bit about the building being on lockdown, and how a day shift position just became available, and how they're going to contact Fredbear's family diner. It basically just cuts from the start to the end, but that call in specific is very interesting, because it's talking about moving Jeremy Fitzgerald to day shift. Now that's on night 5 they talk about that, moving Jeremy to day shift, implying that he must be the day guard for day 6, which is the day before night 6. And after you beat night 6, you get the newspaper about Freddy Fazbear's closing and the toy animatronics are being scrapped. So the bite of 87 had to have happened on day 6, the day that Jeremy was moved to day shift. And the fact that the call starts in the book talking about the bite of 87 and then just giving that weird phone call from night 5 on FNAF 2, it must have been somehow related. So it seems like what it's saying is that Jeremy was moved to day shift and Jeremy was the victim of the bite of 87, which is crazy to finally have confirmation on like 10 years later, but yeah, it seems like Scott is trying to say in this book that Jeremy was the bite victim of 87. And the bite of 87 isn't the only bite that's referenced in this book. We finally, after like so many years, are hearing more about the bite of 83. I feel like we haven't had any official media references since like the Freddy Files or something. Oh my god, it's been a really long time. But the bite of 83 is directly mentioned in this book by Ralph, the phone guy. It is another one of the numbers he puts into the phone, just like 1987. Quote, 4 digits, could be a year you think. You can't remember the first year Freddy Fazbear's Pizza opened, or its predecessor Fredbear's Family Diner, but one year does stick out. It was known as the Big Bite until it happened again 4 years later. Kind of like how World War I was called the Great War until another one came along. Speaking of tragedies being avoided, you punch in the numbers 1983. The phone line crackles. Then you hear a sobbing child. It's definitely a little boy crying on the other side of the line. He's shouting, "No, let me go." You lean forward. "Hello? Hello? Are you there? Talk to me, kid." "No, please, I don't want to." Your skin prickles. You realize you're listening to a recording. You can't help anyone. "Give you a closer look," another boy says. His voice is mean and hard. You hear children's laughter and bubbly pop music, one of Fredbear's original hits. The secret ingredient is you, which you haven't heard in years. "Hey, stop that, put him down," a man shouts. "Get back from the stage, do not touch the bear." People start shouting and screaming. The music plays on, the boy cries on, until crunch. You hang up the phone, but you still hear a child crying. You twist around in your seat and see crunch. Game over. So that's pretty big. First of all, we have a name for the bite of 83. While he calls the bite of 87 the bite of 87, he calls the bite of 83 the Big Bite, and confirms it was 1983 for all the people who were still doubting, who were just crazy people at this point, I think. But yeah, it's confirmed. Big Bite, Bite of 83, and Bite of 87 are 2 separate bites that happened at different times. It's finally, officially, 100% confirmed. Which is awesome, but also we got to hear more about the incident. It's basically just a recap of the minigame, although we do hear stuff about the music that's playing, and there is a man yelling for some reason. Specifically saying, "Do not touch the bear, get back from the stage." It could be an employee, it could be Henry, it could be William. So that's really interesting. Other than that, at the end there, when he hangs up the phone, the crying continues, and then the phone guy dies, and it's an ending for the book. It's a game over. But it implies there that that is the bite victim's spirit that kills him at the end. That's what I'm getting from it anyway. That the bite victim is part of Golden Freddy, and then he gets bit, just like Golden Freddy. Well, I guess Fredbear bit the bite victim. So it seems like his spirit is confirmed to be in there, but I'm not sure. Let me know what you guys think. But that is finally crazy to hear more about the Bite of 83 after all these years. That's really all the big lore I could talk about, other than, you know, the main story of the book. There is another code you can put in, I think it's 2014, which calls a character from the book who is very interesting, but I'm going to let you guys read that for yourselves when the book comes out. There is other little tidbits and stuff, like the Celebrate poster actually is honkable, and there's like a little button in there or whatever, and he presses it and it makes a honk noise. But yeah, other than that, yeah, there's some crazy lore drops in there. Let me know what you guys think. I'm still bewildered by them. And we haven't even seen the whole book, so there's probably more. Let me know what you think. Thank you again to Freezie for doing the live read so we can see some of the stuff. And thank you to Entom for some of the images. Alright, I gotta go. Bye.